Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda. I'm Nick Park. We're doing a series of short teachings on the books of the Old Testament and how Jesus is at the centre of every one of those books, that he is the theme of the Bible and he is the key to understanding the Bible. Because if you don't keep Jesus at the centre, you're going to end up with some weird and wonderful and strange and ungodly ideas of what the Bible is actually teaching and saying. So we're going through the different books, and we've now reached the book of Ezekiel. And I'll be honest with you, reading Ezekiel isn't easy. I find it a very hard book of the Bible to read. It's a long book, and it's full of details about the temple in the heavenly Jerusalem. How many cubits long, how many cubits wide, how many windows, how many doors, this kind of thing. And it can be pretty hard going. And when you're on one of those programs trying to read through the Bible, you know, you've been going through Isaiah and Jeremiah, and Ezekiel just seems hard going. Now, the fact is, all Scripture is inspired. Not all Scripture is equally inspiring to us. We find some Scriptures really inspiring and others we struggle a bit, but it's still inspired by God, and therefore it's right that we read it because it's still about Jesus. And the book of Ezekiel uses the phrase Son of Man a lot. In fact, over 90 times we find the phrase Son of Man. And initially this would have been understood as simply meaning a mortal, a human being. But gradually this phrase, Son of Man, became a messianic title. And so by the time Jesus came along, people understood the phrase Son of Man as referring to the promised Messiah. And Jesus used the phrase a lot, particularly in Luke's Gospel, because each of the Gospels has a slightly different emphasis. They're all 100% inspired by God, 100% truthful, 100% accurate, but they come at the story of Jesus from slightly different perspectives or directions, like eyewitnesses looking from different standpoints. And Luke's Gospel uses the phrase Son of Man a lot because it's talking very much about the humanity of Jesus as well as his deity. Because in Jesus you find God and man perfectly joined together. He is the perfect Son of Man. He's also the Son of God. The great theologian and reformer John Calvin said this. He said, "The Son of God became the Son of Man so that the sons of men could become the sons of God." I hope you got that. The Son of God, the second person of the Trinity, became the Son of Man. That's the incarnation, so that we, the sons of men, could become the sons of God. So we could be saved and exalted and lifted up to be with him. Now, Ezekiel is also familiar to us, of course, for one particular passage in chapter 37, verses 1 to 14, where it speaks about the valley of dry bones. And the valley of dry bones, I'm sure you're familiar with it. You've maybe even sung the song, and don't worry, I'm not going to sing it. The knee bone is connected to the thigh bone, and the thigh bone's connected to the hip bone, and so on. But the whole thing was that Ezekiel was shown this valley of dry bones, of mangled skeletons, all the bones all jumbled up together. And God says, "Can these bones live?" And Ezekiel says, "Well, Lord, you know." And then God caused his spirit to breathe on those bones, and they became a living army. And several applications and meanings to this. One was that Israel would be restored despite its downcast condition. Another one, looking forward to Jesus, is that Jesus would be resurrected, that the dead body that apparently that was the end would not be the end, that he would be raised up in the likeness of the glory of God. But also that we too can be raised up as well, because Jesus is the first fruits of the resurrection from the dead. But also there's another aspect to this, and that is that Jesus can take every area of your life where you have lost hope, where you have lost vision, where it all seems to be over, and Jesus wants to restore fresh life once again. No, Ezekiel isn't the easiest book in the Bible to read, but thank God for it, and thank God Jesus is at the center of it. God bless you today. Join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.